I've spent the last 3 years doing research, talking to people around the world. These economies total over $10 trillion. In some countries, it's more than 60, 70% of GDP that's in the informal sector. So I want to share some of the stories that I've picked up and some of what I'm learning, and then hopefully inspire you to develop your own misfit identity. What are some of the different personalities that you have within yourself that are a little bit of the gangster or the pirate or the hacker or the activist? And I think this speaks to a core truth that we all have. We have so many different personalities inside of us that human beings are really elastic. And yet, so often we have to perform one idea of who we think we are. You know, we have a certain script of the self, or our families, our work requires us to be a certain person. And then we become more and more atrophied with time. We lose parts of ourselves that we don't have access to anymore. And so I think the radical component of this talk is really to think about this question of what kind of person does the market economy ask us to be? What kind of person does liberal economics ask us to be? And how can we expand that idea? I've studied a lot of economic history because I think economics are basically myths that we tell ourselves, stories that we tell ourselves. And so how do we rewire some of these economic truths? How do we expand our consciousness about the ways in which it's possible to show up in society? And so I want to talk about some of these different personalities. And I think if you look at a history of misfit economies and innovators in the world, it's not just this lone innovator, it's not just this crazy radical person, but it's really the power of subculture. It's the power of what happens when people come together in entourages, where they help to create new norms. And this busts myths. You know, when two misfits can help to socialize a new way of being, where it's not just about acting out with self-interest.